Get 15% off a set of Brake Mess Select, Select Pro, or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors now at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Well, you're lucky. You get to kick it off with Blackboard Jungle.
Yeah, lucky me.
So we're going to review, well, let's do black and white first. Blackboard Jungle, A Cry Tomorrow, Marty, Man with the Golden Arm, The Rose Tattoo. Now, why won't this work? Oh, there we go. Oh, here we go. See, I hit it too fast. There we go. And then our color-nominated films, Daddy Longlegs, Guys and Dolls, Love is a Many Splendid Thing, Picnic, and To Catch a Thief. So we got some good ones. You picked a good year.
It was good. I need to go back and watch your movies because Daddy Longlegs looks amazing.
Daddy Longlegs was good, and I've seen Man with a Golden Arm, but I want to check out Picnic.
Yeah,
because I will get to it, but there is a screen capture that I am just in love with. So. But
was it the one in the shower? Well, in the shower room?
The 2 shower one's pretty good. No, it looks like a Monet painting when she's on the swing and they're all on their picnic blankets and yeah, that's a good one. Okay, so Blackboard Jungle, production designer Cedric Gibbons and Randall Duell, set decorators Edwin B. Willis and Henry Grace. So this film, let me give a little synopsis here, is a new English teacher at a violent, unruly inner city school is determined to do his job, despite resistance from both students and faculty. So,
so it's a very it's like a moral lesson kind of movie, and it's very, very kind of preachy, and it even starts out with like the narrator or like a title screen that says, kids have become thugs and it's a scourge, and this man has his job is to get these kids in order, but the teenage terror in the schools, and it was a thing. Apparently it was a thing that was at the time, that there was suddenly all these kids who wanted to fight against the teachers, and so very melodramatic.
Was it gangs?
Preachy.
No,
Pardon me?
It wasn't gangs, right?
I think there was starting to be gangs. It was starting to be gangs. It wasn't like motorcycle gangs, but it was that I was reading about it because of Brando. He did. Was it the Wild Bunch?
Right.
And motorcycle gangs, and that kind of started it off. Like people were like, "Oh, we want to be like that," and then so now we get into this where they're trying to fight against the sort of wild kids. So this was, like we were talking about Cedric Gibbons. This was under his overseeing, but he was not the art director. But it was done at MGM. All done on their back lot.
So this is their back lot.
Totally back lot, yeah. Elevated train, with the school. It was, sort of very realistic looking. That was the what the attempt was, just to make it very naturalistic, realistic, gritty.
Right. So this is Sony.
Currently Sony, and when they had MGM, they had obviously one of the biggest backlots.
Yeah, they had a huge property back there.
And fantastic resources. But high naturalism, realism, You know, all the sets on stage with, like, you know, the classrooms and their the hall, the teacher's lounge, the principal's office, library, and they're just all just done super realistically. I mean, you
Yeah.
could be on location. They're just done very well.
Because they're
Uh,
small, because they're not huge rooms.
right, right, yeah. And I have to say though, I didn't I didn't like the movie.
Mm.
I mean, I just thought it was too kind of preachy, and it didn't seem real. Like it didn't like the characters, the students who were you know, being the bullies, being the thugs. It didn't seem it seemed too much. It seemed over the top,
Over the
kind of.
top. Yeah.
Yeah, a little over the top. I would even call it almost hokey today. You
Mm.
know, like it's a little too much, but a very, you know, gritty, naturalistic, realistic. You know, look at they got the hydrant going with
Yeah.
the water. You know, um, this production designer also did Singing in the Rain,
Hmm.
and he worked on Wizard of Oz. And
Oh. What am I?
yeah, he had a different title on Wizard of Oz. He was an art director, but and it was much earlier in his career. That was like 39. But what was interesting about this, I read up about this guy. He was an architect, and he started working at MGM when architecture went south, went dead during the Depression.
Oh.
And so he started working there, but he kept his architecture business, and he designed theme parks. He worked at Disney, worked designing Disney. He designed Magic Mountain,
Oh, wow.
Six Flags here, Astro World in Houston, Universal Studios. He had a whole business designing theme parks all over the country.
Oh, wow.
And he did that after he left studios, which I think was in late 50s, early 60s. And he just did that exclusively. He also did, you know, on Ventura Boulevard, there's that Cadillac dealership that's very
Oh,
1950s.
yeah. Cadillac Man.
Cadillac. He designed that. I mean, that's one of his buildings. And so he was an architect, you know, so he approached things obviously from a real architecture standpoint, you know, as a lot of, you know, production designers and art directors in the studio system were trained as architects.
Yeah.
And then came into the studio to work because there's a lot of work.
Is it? Yeah, there's always something going on.
Yeah, this is the sort of hokiness. These cars drive by this parked car and they clip it and it knocks it over and almost hits, you know, Glenn Ford. And I'm like, that was so hokey.
Yeah.
I mean, it's supposed to be like terror in the streets, terror in the schools. Sidney Poitier was in it, a kind of a small role.
He's in everything. In 10, 20, 15 years, he's in like every movie.
He's
great.
in everything.
Yeah.
This is early on. I think he had done one or two little parts before this. And then he's one of the unruly kids, but Glenn Ford reaches out to him, notices that he sings, and says, you know, will you and your guys do a number for, you know, the talent show? And so he kind of reaches him through his, and he kind of reaches out to him to say, hey, can you help me out with these kids? Because they're just, you know, we got to get these kids under control. And they get almost everybody to back him except one unruly kid who pulls a knife, switchblade on Glenn Ford and cuts him in the hand. And I think there he's got a towel around his hand. You see him in the bathroom.
Yeah.
I think his hand has been cut. And anyway, that was my feeling, was that it was just a little hokey. Oh, the other thing that made it hokey is all the students are played by adults. So it's sort of that,
look.
You know, that Welcome Back, Kotter.
Yeah.
Or, you know,
Grease.
Grease.
Yeah.
Everybody's. So anyway, that was my feeling about that. And I don't know. It's interesting that it's nominated for an Academy Award.
Right. Well,
To me, it's fine, but I think it was probably well received in the day for its controversial stance, and so it probably got some attention for that and got on people's radar.
because there's no, I mean, you got the school, you got their house, they went to a restaurant. From what
Nothing's
I've
flashy, right?
Yeah,
nothing eye-grabbing. Realism.
Yeah.
Really realism is what it has going for it. And
Well,
so
yeah. I think that's one of the conversations I have on these film studies is like, well, why was this nominated? And I think, what we come to and what we know happens even now is if a movie's popular and people saw it, they would vote for it.
It's nominated. Yeah.
And
I think that you probably see that over and over. Like, well, that's an odd one to be in there. I mean, it was probably really well received and talked about. Oh, and it was the first time they used rock and roll music in a movie, and it starts with "Rock Around the Clock," from like Happy Days,
right?
Which is also adults playing kids,
right? Fonzie.
And so it had that just as in the title sequence. I don't remember if they go back to any rock and roll music, but very preachy to me.
I'm trying to see. It had a budget of $1.1 million. So I mean, that's a decent amount of money for what they got going on there.
Yeah, I think though there's
time.
another movie that cost $5 million. I think Guys and Dolls was a $5 million movie.
Yeah. Well, some of them back then. Yeah, some of the budgets I've seen, I can't believe that they had that money, but
right.
Well then,
Okay.
I probably won't watch that one. I don't know. It doesn't. The sets don't really appeal to me, and I don't know.
It's not on my recommend list. Oddly enough, I had it. I mean, I had the DVD. I'm like, oh, do we have this? And Nancy's like, yeah, we have it.
Oh, that's funny. Wow. You never know. Sometimes you get that, Except you probably picked it up for research or something.
Yeah.
Well, there's this one, although glitzy, this also gets a little gritty. It's I'll Cry Tomorrow production designer Cedric Gibbons and Randall Duell, set decorators Aaron B. Willis and Henry Grace. So the same as yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
Susan Hayward stars as a singer-actress Lillian Roth, whose rise to stardom was nearly destroyed by alcoholism. And when I watch, I mean, I could read that, but I don't know what I'm getting into when you watch these films sometimes. And it starts out with this, the mother's taking the little girl to the audition and they're walking through this really dense New York street that's filthy, or like that guy in front's like selling us clocks and everything. And I thought, well, we're starting out. I like this. They don't really show her apartment or anything. Yeah. So, and then the little girls are in their audition. That's obviously a set and everything. And then it jumps to she's, 10 years later or whatever, she's made it. The mother, first of all, the mother like yells at her like a true stage mom. It's a lot of the stage mom syndrome is in this movie and why she is the way she is and can never do good. And, but then we get, the glitzy parts of her performing when she's older, and she's a fabulous singer. They do this fabulous set that kind of reminds me of the style of that Daddy Longlegs that we'll get to, of this like abstract, like hand-painted drawing type theater.
Very theatrical of the day in the 50s. Theater sets would be highly painted like that.
Yeah, it's this is only like in the show for like 30 seconds too. It was a bummer. It was good. And then we've made it. She's got this great apartment. I love I always look at curtains and all the little details. Fresh flowers always tell that people are rich, or and like, but also subtly, like, there's like a box on the floor like that back there, like she's getting mail, or like then there's like I don't know if those are tissues or something. Like I love the details in this movie. Then she has an apartment again. There's like this. I think Asian theme was very popular, and then they tried to get onto that with the mid-century look and put those together. But her New York apartment is, I like the flowered curtains, but it's obviously a set. I mean, they open up those curtains. It's a great backdrop back there and everything, but a bar, like she has a party at one point. There's tons of people in the room, and I thought it was functional enough that they put a lot of scenes into this room, the bar. She changes over the room and they're having dinner together. They bring the sofa back in, like, so they kind of, they change it around, which is kind of weird. Her bedroom, which is always great. Look at the pattern on the chair and the headboard and the vanity, all the same quilted fabric.
Oh, love it. Yeah.
Is so great. And then she's an alcoholic. It's really a harsh look at alcoholism, and how you can throw it all away. And, from she gets to like a room for rent where that guy is, and she's selling her body for alcohol. But I love that they showed downtown LA, like, as a location. I mean, her down there walking the streets, which is probably, what is that, like Mateo down there? So I like that they got off the lot and did this.
Well, they got those early scenes in childhood. They went to New York for.
Oh, they did.
That was New York. I don't think that was a backlot.
Yeah, well, you're probably right. Yeah,
that looked
right.
like the Lower East Side for real. That didn't.
Yeah,
that was a little bit too realistic to be a backlot.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah, you're right. See, I'm so into it, I forgot. Now, weirdly enough, like, they're drinking, but she has like a nicer halfway house that the husband brings her to. I don't know what this set is up in the left-hand corner, but like he's kind of has her captive and keeps feeding her alcohol, and then she escapes and goes to this weirdo little cafe that, like,
yeah, that's strange. Yeah,
looks like a tiny little set. That might even be the bar of her apartment back there. Or something.
Brought it over.
Yeah. I don't know.
She sold it.
Yeah. So, I liked the glitz and the glamour, and then this, like, trashiness. And then she gets away from the bad husband. She's trying to get her life together. She goes to live with her mother. And I just thought this was interesting, trying to bring in, like, some artwork to describe the mom, which is oddly hung. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it is pretty weird. Yeah.
But the curtains, for the other room were always cute. I mean, the kitchen is on top of the sewing machine. It's though these details are really sound like the mom. She didn't give her mom like any money to help her or whatever. But she goes to AA, which I was trying to look up. This is one of the first times they were used AA in a film. And having done a lot of like AA meetings or like community meetings, I love the like coffee setup. That's like fantastic research. They got a chess game going, and then they're at a meeting. She's all in. She's getting it together. Then this is on the screen for maybe 5 seconds. This guy's apartment. He's her sponsor.
Eddie Albert. Yeah.
Yeah.
Green Acres.
And he, yeah. And we all have to do these big sets or like a detailed set, and you hardly saw it, but
wow.
I grabbed that. And then at the end, they recreate the "This Is Your Life" set, and the last scene is her like walking onto the set because they're gonna do her. So, wow. I liked it. It's it's a little depressed, a little downer, but I definitely liked it.
I like this early television where they're actually in a theater shooting television on stage with an audience, which was like how they did, The Honeymooners was actually shot in the theater on Broadway, or just, in the Broadway theater district, and not in a television studio. And then, I think they built a little bit of a thrust, and the cameras were on like a little apron, and they used, theater lights, and then the audience sat in the audience. I mean, and that's how the David Letterman, the Late Show, whatever that's called, that is in a theater, with a balcony and auditorium and stage, and they've turned it into a television studio. But a lot of these were done in theaters, I like that. I mean, you can see the proscenium arch. They might have even shot this at a theater. Yeah.
I mean, I just thought it was great to show like the back behind the scenes of this, and not just put her on the set of This Is Your Life. Like having her walk down and like be petrified that she has to do this was really good.
For the audience, show all the people staring at her. Yeah.
Design wise, I liked this. I liked seeing the grittiness. I liked, obviously, now that you told me that was New York City, and I liked that they were downtown LA. Yeah.
Well, can you go back to that picture real quick and look at it?
No, you're right. I just was like, it could be downtown LA for New York. No.
You see the big, I don't know. That looks pretty New York.
Yeah.
Could be. I don't know.
Well, I can look it up. I'll come tomorrow. No,
that looks like the Lower East Side, but would they go to New York just to do this? Yeah, they would. I mean, they flew all over the place in these
you're
movies.
Right. It's 210 West 46th Street, Manhattan.
That's West 46th. Wow.
Yeah. So they were they were at Paramount. They were downtown. They were at 300 East 5th Street, and they also shot at MGM. So yeah, the Deluxe Hotel they also shot.
Huh.
Yeah, that is, and it's really, maybe 30 seconds on the screen. It's not a huge. Well, then she takes her into a doorway and almost beats her because she failed at the audition. So maybe it was a little longer. Yeah. But yeah.
But in any case, it wasn't the principal cast. It was the mom and the daughter and
the mom who then they age. So the mom's in it the whole time. But
she's in it the whole time. Yeah.
Yeah. But the little girl is, she has like 2 scenes and then she's out. So yeah. I mean, compared to some of the, I thought it was good. I thought it was good.
When I saw this picture on your slideshow, I thought that was great. This theatrical number, the dance hall, the weird forced perspective, not forced, but twisted perspective.
Yeah, like how the ceiling goes down and like you're saying.
That craps table goes up, or, that it's, it's tilted up and like everything. Yeah, it's great. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
20 seconds on the screen.
Yeah, I'm not even like, she like ends the song and walks off the stage into her dressing room, and then it's like you don't go back there. Maybe it was more. Maybe they edited it out. You never know. But yeah, I mean, it's a rough story. She blew it, and then she tries to get her life back, and she's having this.
Great detail. Great. Yeah, realistic detail.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, and then Marty. I have Marty. Yeah. So let's do Marty. Marty is a production designed by Edward S. Hayworth and Walter M. Simmons and set decorator Robert Priestley. Marty, which I've seen a couple times in my life, a middle-aged butcher and a school teacher who have given up on the idea of love meet at a dance and fall for each other. It's such a sweet movie. It really is.
Oh, yeah? I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's so endearing. And
heard about it, but I've just never seen it.
Yeah.
MGM? MGM, yeah, it's
MGM. I would highly recommend it. And in watching it this time, I noticed their use of mirrors in this movie, and the whole thing is he thinks he's too ugly to find someone. He finds someone who's not pretty, and they, hopefully they end up together. So this use of mirrors throughout the movie, which I never picked up on before, I thought was fantastic. That's his butcher shop. They have this great, it's obviously a build of Michael's. I think it's called Michael's little cafe that they go to, and they all hang out there. And it's a diner, but it's a bar. Like, it has a double use
Right.
in scenes, but great detail up top with I think this is the 40s. Oh no, it's set in the 50s. Upper middle class in New York City in the 50s. So the big set is he still lives with his mom. So, his mom's making him dinner. His mom's inviting over his brother and the brother's wife. They're having problems, but there's a lot of scenes in this living room and dining room. And I just love the the chairs and the tablecloth, and then they had nice drapery. Like, I got to show you the exterior of this house makes no sense to me. Maybe you can help me with this, and then they're in the living room, and the lighting is really fantastic in this movie. These little private moments that the characters have, but look how low the chairs are. Like, all of their knees. Look at their knees are like up. Like, it's crazy.
I can't stand that, but maybe they choose that for a reason, just to make them sit awkwardly.
I don't know.
Little,
it drives me insane. There is an aisle at Universal Prop House that I tell my shoppers, or I know, I'm not going down that aisle because all of the chairs are too low.
Too low.
So
this is just so dark.
Yeah.
I mean, dark woodwork and dark wallpaper and dark furniture, and
nothing is bright.
So depressing looking.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's wonderful, but geez.
Yeah. So I guess they had a little money. They're upper class, and the dad died, and then he's the youngest, and he stayed home to take care of his mom and took over the butcher shop and everything. So his backstory lends to this, but the kitchen is fantastic with the open shelves and showing some
molding details, just like
look at even the light switch is been used in dark, and
the little knob,
but not overdone, but lived in, and that's what we're all trying to achieve here.
Yeah, I mean, heavily lived in.
Yeah. They've been there a long time. And then the weirdest thing, he goes upstairs. His bedroom's downstairs. He goes upstairs to do this bathroom scene. You can look into the mom's room. She's in there putting in her robe. But she's doing her... It's weird. It's like... It almost looks like it's a hallway, because the door that's shut behind her when she's combing her hair is the door that he's coming in on the left. Do you see? Like...
Oh.
It's weird. It's like there's two doors into this bathroom. I don't know. I couldn't figure it out.
It's weird. Yeah. I mean, it's a bathroom that is like is it a Jack and Jill? Or is it a bathroom that accesses from both?
I couldn't figure it out. Because the angles they're looking into her room, and then they're looking into the bathroom, but that door matches up with the door he first comes into. I don't know. It was weird. But simple little bathroom up there. Now look at the exterior of this house in New York City. This makes no sense to me.
Well, the railing kind of, I mean, I don't know where it is anymore. I mean, they're probably all torn down. Those neighborhoods are. Is it New York City, or is it Queens?
No, I believe he's in New York City. Let me make sure. But
it could be Archie Bunker's neighbor. easily. It could be a house in Queens.
But look at the look at the house next to it
Yeah.
with the windows and everything. It just threw me off.
Suburban. It looks kind of suburban.
Yeah. I don't
That's
know.
what they had on the back lot.
Yeah, I think it's like, oh, let's just make this work. With
We'll
this
put this
back
this
lot.
iron railing out front to make it look a little bit more New Yorky.
They shot a lot in the Bronx and
Bronx.
and New York City. So.
I mean, it obviously doesn't look like that now, and it didn't look like that,
No.
you know, in the 80s when I lived there. So
It didn't.
but areas, I mean, could very easily be
Yeah, that out
of the city.
out of the
proper.
city. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the only time they're in his bedroom. It's super depressing. That's all they show of him sitting on this poor bed. And one cowboy picture.
Yeah, that he probably
Yeah.
doesn't even look at.
Now the girl sitting on the sofa is the girl he meets at the dance, and they have like she's waiting for his call like the next night. Now this set is on TV for like maybe a minute. They to show like her parents are well-to-do, it looks like, and watching the Ed Sullivan Show, and I love that they did a reverse on the TV.
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic.
Everything is kind of lighter and cleaner, and the moldings are more refined and not heavy and old and dark.
Yeah.
Painted trim, and the chairs aren't super low.
Yeah, their asses aren't on the ground. So.
It looks a lot. Yeah, but it's 30 seconds.
Yeah.
30, okay, show contrast.
Here's one of the, maybe I passed one already. One of the other uses of a mirror, when he goes to this dance hall, all of the columns are mirrored. I thought that was great because you're still seeing the people dancing behind him, but he's basically on the sidelines like the whole night. It's a sin. He chases her out up to this balcony because she gets her man like leaves her or something. But I thought, like a New York rooftop is fun. You get that backdrop and it's dark. They only have that one light. I know some of these pictures aren't great because I screenshot them and it's like they're blue versus black, but
I like that. So they did that on stage.
Yeah, just a little outdoor set. So there's the big dance hall they had, which was great. And then there's this little seating area over here where he meets her. But, this was the place to be. This was like,
yeah.
And all, like, I just love looking at the glasses, like those cones that you just put the paper cup into.
Paper cup,
and
sure.
Yep. It's fantastic. So then they go for a walk, and this mirror on the wall is actually great too. I believe the guy sitting there is the writer. But you can see their reflection a little bit when they're talking together. They do a nice walkthrough of the city too at night, so it's very dark. I actually took a couple pictures and they didn't really turn out. But there is some nice nighttime. Now this is the brother's apartment. It's not his brother, it's his cousin, and this is his mom's sister, and the mom was living with them, and it's a problem. But her mirror and how like she's kicking out her mother-in-law, and she takes a look in the mirror about what she's doing, but just an efficient little apartment in New York I thought was cute. Plain but cute, little style.
Contrasting to their apartment again.
Yeah, but these scenes, like the one on the right is them in his house on that sofa. They're beautifully lit and just very intimate. And here his friends call him. They're out walking, and his friends call him over. Hey, ditch her. We got somebody else. And it's just a sad, lonely woman sitting on like a dark street. They didn't put lights in that store.
Right.
They didn't.
No, it's closed.
It's great. It's really great. And I feel like I think about those things sometimes when I'm like, why do I need to put in 5 million lights. Like,
Yeah.
it's really like a bummer sometimes. But yeah,
Well, I guess it depends upon the mood you're trying to set, and the mood here is
yeah,
sad,
that's true.
lonely, and depressing, and so you don't, it doesn't want to be like a lighting store
Yeah,
that's like wonderful and cheery and um and glowing. It wants to be desolate,
yeah,
and they did.
you
They
are right.
achieved it. It looks great.
Yeah, I would highly recommend the movie. It's short. It's like an hour and a half, hour and 20 or something. It's good. Ernest Borgnine is really good in it. Did I
Won him
have
an Oscar, didn't it?
Yeah, he was best. It was best Oscar for him.
Yeah.
Um, the only time in film history that the producers spent more on a film's award campaign, 400,000, than they did making the movie for 343,000. So it only cost 340,000 to make, but it generated 3 million in domestic box office.
Wow.
First Best Picture winner to have been based on a TV program, and they shot it in 16 days and 3 days of reshoots.
Wow.
A little film, little
film.
like indie film. Yeah. No, it's good. It's a good one. Yeah. Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah. Man with Golden Arm, Frank Sinatra. I think there was one of the things I read about this is a lot of actors wanted this part.
Mm.
And I think they offered it up to Marlon Brando and Frank Sinatra at the same time, and he got his agent to respond first. So he got it. But I think Brando really wanted it. This was another bleak show. These black and white movies are really bleak.
I know. We're down and dirty.
Yeah.
Well, let me. So
Kim Novak, she's in a couple of these.
Yeah.
She's in Picnic too.
Production designer Joseph C. Wright, set decorator Daryl Sylvia, and it's a junkie must face his true self to kick his drug addiction. I mean, this is 1955. This is great.
And it's all shut. It's like very kind of claustrophobic. They're telling this little story, and it's all the exterior scenes are on the back lot, and so it's all back lot or this is on. Go back to that shot.
Yeah, this is
on stage. So the exterior street scenes are all built on a stage, not even in the back lot. So it's.
Well, they must have done that. I'm assuming because there was a lot of scenes here, and they didn't want to deal with weather or night and day, and
a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
A lot of scenes take place in this little sort of claustrophobic little section of town where there's the liquor there's the bar that they hang out at, there's the little apartment where his dealer is, or his heroin dealer, where he goes for his fix. There's his apartment building. He lives on upper floor with his wife, who is in a wheelchair.
And, so it was hard to find shots of this film, I must say.
Yeah, so she's in a wheelchair, and so he's been away in rehab. He went to rehab for his heroin addiction, and I think they were in a car accident, which is why she's paralyzed, and it was his fault or something. She's very controlling. He's actually in love with the Kim Novak character, Molly, who lives downstairs, and his wife knows it, but he's not acting on it because he can't do anything to to her, to his wife. He would kill her if I left her for you. And so he's trying to not get back on drugs. And he in rehab, he's learned how to play drums. And so now his dream is to get hired by a big band and tour and play drums and be on TV with the big band. And he's pretty good. But he's got all these like loser friends. because there's the first thing he does is he goes back into the bar that he used to hang out with, and all these loser friends and the heroin dealers and the alcoholics and everything. He goes right back in, and he goes, no, I'm fine. I'm not gonna fall back on the stuff. And it doesn't take long.
Right.
He gets his sort of this little Weasley guy at the bottom. I forget this guy's name. Gets him he says, I'll get you a good suit for your audition. And he goes and he steals a suit. Right? He steals a suit from the department store, and he puts it on to go for his interview. And the cops arrest him for stolen. They throw him into jail, and while he's in jail, there's a strung out junkie who goes crazy bananas, and he realizes that he really hasn't kicked it. He needs a fix, and he ends up getting back on heroin. And he's got his audition, and the guy at the audition says, one thing I can't, I know that you just got out of rehab, and I can't hire, I don't want to hire you if you're going to be a junkie, because I don't do that. I don't hire, because junkies are always going to let me down.
Right.
And he's like, no, I'm fine. The other thing he does is he's a poker dealer. And he is a dealer in a underground illegal gambling situation, and all these guys need him to deal, and they only want to come into town to play cards if he's gonna deal, because he's got the golden arm, right? He's so the golden arm has to do with him dealing cards,
and the
has
heroin.
to do with him playing drums, and has to do with the heroin in the arm. So anyway, they make him do this poker game, which goes on for like 48 hours, and he's strung out. The dealer won't, the heroin dealer is making him be the poker dealer to get his drugs. And he ends up going to his audition the next morning, totally strung out, having not slept in 48 hours and having done heroin. And he can't play the drums, and he doesn't get the gig. And then it turns out his wife isn't paralyzed.
Oh.
She's faking it
to make him feel bad.
Yeah, she kills the heroin dealer. She shoots him, or she pushes him over the stair railing. She gets up, and he's like, "Oh, you've been faking it." And she pushes him over the stair railing. He falls to his death. And then, then they find out that she's been faking it this whole time. They're going to arrest him for the death of the dealer. And anyway, it's super depressing. It's super depressing. But they made it all very claustrophobic because I guess they want to show him just being trapped. Right. But he comes back to his place, this world of his, and he's trapped in it. He can't get out. It's all claustrophobic and ominous sounds. So they make it all really tight. There's no freedom. There's no air to breathe. It's just really stagnant and grim and sad. I guess there's a couple of nightclubs that are a little bit nicer, but it's mostly like the gambling den, the police station, pool halls, pawn shops, strip clubs. It's I think Kim Novak works in a club that it's not really a strip club at the time. It would have been where they it's not vaudeville. It's a strip club, but I don't think it's complete nudie strip club. It's just they dance, and they probably have drinks with gentlemen and
right.
whatever, wherever they do that. Very, very it's just this very tightly controlled sort of palette. This black and white, obviously, but it's just super, super grim. This guy, the guy who designed it, also ends up
Joseph Wright.
He worked on Guys and Dolls as well. But he also did like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Oklahoma, Porgy and Bess. Did a lot of
Sinatra wasn't nominated for this. I just looked up. That's crazy. It sounds like he was really good in it.
Seems like he should have been. It was really intense. It's interesting because he also did Guys and Dolls this year.
Right.
So, which I think he was nominated for. I can't remember.
Well, he's for supporting actor, maybe. Maybe look it up. Supporting.
I didn't really look into the actors stuff.
I kind of have here. I mean, on the Waterfront took a lot that year. That's why.
Yeah, Brando. Was it that year or the year before? It was the year before. Waterfront?
Oh, sorry. I'm on the wrong.
That was just the year before.
I'm on the wrong year.
Brando did on the Waterfront.
Yeah.
And,
Ernest Borgnine won that year. I'm sorry. Frank Sinatra was nominated that year. Yeah.
For this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supporting. Nah. Actor. Supporting. No, he wasn't up for supporting for Guys and Dolls, but yeah. I must have watched this and not finished it because I don't remember her being able to walk. So maybe I got to go back and watch that.
It's like a last scene. It's like a beginning thing. She gets up out of the wheelchair and they look at her, and the look on her face is like, "I'm caught. How did I do?" And then I think I'm not. I won't tell you because if you're going to watch the end of it. If you're going to watch it through, I won't tell you quite how it ends. But
don't tell me, because I think I will watch this.
Super dramatic and, melodramatic. Kind of noir-ish, but not, doesn't have that detective thing. I want to hear about this.
I never heard of this movie. Production designer Hal Perina and Tamby Larson, set decorators Samuel L. Comer and Arthur Krams. I had never heard of this movie. A Sicilian seamstress who idolizes her husband must deal with several family crises upon his sudden death. So,
it's a very famous Tennessee Williams play.
Yes, that I learned. And did they use his house? It was a Broadway play in 1951. It also won Best Cinematography, Black and White, Best Actress in the Leading Role. It was shot in Key West, Florida, and at Paramount Studios. This actress was very big in Italy at the time. And I believe it was like they waited for her. Like they kept trying to cast it, but they waited for her. And this house was in Key West, and it's down the street from Tennessee Williams' house.
Oh.
That he still has there. It's funny because it's like, oh, there's a lot of palm trees. Like they shot some on location, and then there's not. I don't know. It goes back and forth a little bit, but I kind of liked the movie, I would say, but there was a very dense, small scene in this grocery store, and it cracks me up. Like, look how many cans of soup there are. It's crazy. But this is the husband still alive. She's going to make dinner for him. Everything's going great. And then he's actually smuggling drugs or something, and she's the town seamstress. So this woman comes to her late at night, and she said, I have this beautiful silk material. I want you to make my lover a shirt, but I need it by the morning. And she's like, look, I'm tired. My husband's sleeping. You got to leave. And so, no, please do this for me. And the husband sees that this woman's in the living room, and he jumps out the window or back door to get out, because it's his girlfriend. And he thinks oh, she's coming to tell my wife. And he gets in his truck and he drives off the road. And then the cops come and they find that he was smuggling stuff in his bananas or something. But so he dies. So she's got a daughter, the girl in the window, The house obviously is a set, but is so jam-packed with gems. Like, look at this lampshade.
A lampshade, yeah.
The lampshade. And then, very Italian Catholic, there's like the Jesus photo in the background, Jesus on the mountain. There's a ton of statues, and they have this beautifully, like, the raised tin in the kitchen, when she's leaning against that wall. It's yeah, and then in the kitchen you can see on the left hand too. It's beautifully, like, just I want to know what color it was. Like, is it copper? Is it?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's tin, or it's the embossed paper, anaglypta paper.
Oh yeah.
But it does look like it's tin in the kitchen.
Yeah. So
wow.
Yeah, and then look at that, another Jesus. She's got the statues. The bedroom, it's so tight in that bedroom, but like you get it that she is just packing it with every fabric she can find, and making curtains, and the bedspread, and then the pillows on the seat, and like the doily over the piano, and it's
the doily over the bedside table, the knitted cover. Yeah.
It's chock full, but not overdone. You know, these aren't like, she's got a statue with like one candle, but it still reads as, you know, it's an important little setup for her. She's got this side room where she's the seamstress, and all these mirrors, and full-length mirrors, and mannequins, and dress patterns I thought were great. And then this is funny. So obviously this is their front door. The one scene, there's a big palm tree, and then the other scene, it's like there's like another house across the street.
Weird.
Yeah.
Angle? I don't know.
I don't know. It happens more than once. I think the bottom one is on stage, and the top one is the location.
Oh.
That's my guess. But yeah, chock full. So, and then they've got this backyard that is so overgrown. And they have like goats running around, and I don't know. I mean, the greensman had some prep time for this, because there was a lot going on.
The bottom picture, man.
Yeah. This old, fence going to the neighbor's backyard. She's like, oh, my goat got loose. And Burt Lancaster comes over, gets the goat. So I forget now where she meets Burt Lancaster. Oh, she meets him at the fair. We'll get to that. These are other little swing sets they had. Also a casino. She's confronting the girlfriend in the bottom picture. But then Burt Lancaster goes and gets a rose tattoo like the husband had. Burt Lancaster is the biggest dork in this movie. I can't.
Really?
He's such a doofus. It's weird. It's like uncomfortable. He's goes and gets this gigantic rose tattoo on his chest, and he only met her like one day, and he's trying to like impress her. It's crazy. They meet at this fair up top, which was really, jam-packed with people. They have bingo. They got a little food stands, these string lights, which it's all daytime, so, but yeah. And then I just like the lighting in this bottom scene. That's the daughter playing piano down there, and this boy who's falling in love with her is coming to talk to her. Just this empty room somewhere on location, I'm sure, Key West. Beautiful scenes, dark scenes. The one, both of them, but the one on the right, it's all dark. Like, there's no light. It's just that pattern through the trees, and they're just on like a staircase, an outdoor staircase. It's fantastic. The light coming in on both sides. They got windows on both sides. It looks realistic on the set on the left. And I just thought it was beautiful. It's a weird...
Did one for cinematography?
Yes, it did. Yeah. Production designer Hal Perrin won 23 Oscars, having won only one for Oh, he was nominated for 23 Oscars. He only ever won for The Rose Tattoo.
Interesting. Well, he was a head of studio, head of the art department.
Right.
Because it lists two designers.
Two designers, yeah. And the decorator, Sam Comer, did 326 films. Vertigo, Catch a Thief, Sunset Boulevard included.
And but Arthur Krams
also
would have been the decorator who did it. Sam Comer is also, I believe, the head of the department. Because these guys were also on To Catch a Thief.
Right.
Arthur Krams. And then Arthur Krams shows up again. Where does he show up?
Arthur.
I think he shows up one more time.
Arthur Krams, Rose.
Guys and Dolls.
To Catch a Thief. I think I only have him twice. Maybe he's on another one. It's beautifully done. I could see why this would win. It's the same director as I'll Cry Tomorrow. And there's so much yelling in Italian in the beginning. Everybody's really mad. It's kind of funny. If you want to watch Burt Lancaster be really goofy, it's kind of good, but her performance is really good in this woman. I can look up her name, but it grew on me. Like after I watched it, I was like, I liked it now. Oh, Anna Magnani, yes. She won Best Actress for this. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I would say to study black and white film and to have such a character in such a little space decorated is fantastic. They're in this house like almost the whole time. Obviously it was a play, so yeah.
But yeah. You know? I believe I saw this on the West End back in my old theater days, and from what I remember, I don't remember much of it because I think it was excruciating.
I don't think it's she's good, but it doesn't, but it's watchable. It's watchable.
Check it out. It was one of the things that when I looked at 1955, I saw, Rose Tattoo. I got it. This is good. This, all Guys and Dolls and To Catch a Thief and all this Man with the Golden Arm. But I saw Rose Tattoo. Now I still haven't watched it, so I do want to watch it. So I'm gonna follow up by watching all of your movies afterwards.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a commitment. I think, if I'm judging it as a movie, it's a different verdict than I'm judging it as production design. That's how I feel about this movie. But she's really good in it. Like, she's crying and she's angry and she's worried about her daughter, and the daughter's like a total bitch to her. Like, the daughter's so mean to her. But
so that's all the black and whites, right? So do you think so you didn't necessarily watch my two movies, but you watched three of them, but like it won the Academy Award.
Yes. So Rose Tattoo won, and to me, I don't know, Marty's pretty good too. Design wise. Well, I guess maybe that house kind of freaks me out. But I'll Cry Tomorrow, all of those sets are fantastic. I actually think it's, for the three that I watched, I'll Cry Tomorrow is probably a bigger project to showcase theater and slums and, glitzy apartments. And this is kind of one note here.
It's in film. So you're really relying, in everything that we do, a lot on the cinematographer.
Yeah. And
how well that set is lit, because that's how how it's going to be received. And so if the lighting is really, your sets are lit really beautifully, they're going to just look better than, not to take anything away from I'll Cry Tomorrow or Marty or anything, but the cinematography is gonna
Absolutely.
I mean, yeah.
Absolutely.
So interesting.
What do you think? I mean, you watched 2 out of the 3, but
Yeah, I watched 2 of them. Blackboard Jungle, Man with Golden Arm. They were both, to me, in the same kind of world of like everything done on the soundstage. The sort of and all the exteriors were done on the soundstage. Not that they're not realistic. It was the convention at the time. It was before a lot of going out on location to save money. They were these movies that the studios churned out. They did a lot of movies. That's why you had these heads of art department and 15 art directors and and
you're
whole
churning
team
them
of
out.
set decorators. Those set decorators would do like 4 or 5 movies in the time that a designer would do one movie.
Yeah.
They were just constantly working. So I kind of feel like those 2, the 2 that I saw, were just studio product. That they weren't necessarily inspired. They were just kind of gritty naturalism, realism. They didn't have that added layer like Rose Tattoo would have. There's a whole kind of dramatic, poetic, emotional feeling in the decor. So who knows if I'll take a look at I Cry Tomorrow. It looked amazing.
Yeah.
Really did.
I think it just had a bigger scope of sets to showcase that would be eligible for an Oscar. I mean, I think this is really good too, and like you said, it's lit really beautifully, and so is Marty.
Yeah, right.
And I really love going back and watching these black and white films and getting so much emotion from the lighting. So much, even though it's black and white, there's just so much there. I love it. So yeah, I think I would say I'll Cry Tomorrow out of these would win for what I would vote for.
You're gonna petition them to change it?
I'm gonna start up my own petition for 1955.
Welcome to Pro Tips for the Pros, brought to you by Floor & Decor Bailey's Crossroads. In this series, we'll explore essential advice for professional contractors to deliver outstanding renovation results. Let's dive in. Before starting any renovation project, take the time to plan meticulously. Assess the customer's needs, budget, and timeline to ensure a smooth and successful renovation process. Thank you for joining us for this pro tip on planning thorough renovations. Stay tuned for more expert advice brought to you by Floor & Decor Bailey's Crossroads.
A lot of people tolerate ordinary. Ordinary bathrooms, kitchens, entryways. Well, not on your watch. If you're a pro, you've got a new partner in town. Floor & Decor. From tile to wood to stone, Floor & Decor has more styles and job lot quantities of Schluter, Mapei, Laticrete, and other brands pros trust. Come see a whole new way to wow with Floor & Decor. Coming soon to Bailey's Crossroads.